Hi, I'm Brian Kinley with Command Access, and this Tech video is regarding the MLRK1-AR kit installed on an Adams Wright device. So we're going to jump in. Most of the time we're going to have an issue where when we apply power, the kit's jumping around and we just don't know why. First thing you want to look for is to make sure that these activating brackets on the front and back are flipped properly. If they're down, it ends up hitting. If they're flipped upright, you can push it all the way in. So then you test again. Well, that still wasn't your issue. So at this point, you're going to need to dive in and make sure that everything on the installation was right. All the critical areas are hit. And you can do that by looking at your instructions or scanning the QR code, which will take you to our website for an instructional video. So now let's look at all of the critical areas and critical components. All right, so the first critical area is all of these different grooves. The bottom groove is what gets the hold down bracket. The second groove here is where the back of the motor actually slides in place, and you know it's in there because you can lift the whole panic up. And then the last part is where you hook the front of the motor to. So the motor is supposed to hook up here to this big roll pin. It's a much stronger location. It does fit in this slot, but that's not the proper place. You definitely want to make sure the front of the motor is hooked into there, and let me show you how that's done. So we make sure we're centered over there, and now we're over the pin. Everything's in the proper position. From this point, you drop your screws in. And just put them in snug. Don't get them too tight yet because we got another trick to do. So now what you want to do is you want to push the motor forward. So as you push it forward, they were a little tight there, so loosen it up a little bit more. As you push the motor forward, then you push down the activating brackets to slide everything back. And that's the position you want to set it in. That allows full travel of everything on the kit, and you have a good starting point. Lock those screws down, and then you'll be ready to reprogram your device. Okay, so now that everything's installed in the right spot, simply test. You don't have to actually program to start. Test your kit to see how far it's pulling. We still have a problem. Looks like that front bracket was in the wrong spot. So now we're going to retest. We've got it pulling in, but the problem is there's still a lot of room left for this to go. So now we want to reprogram it to make sure we're getting full throw. The programming is you hold the red button down and then apply power. Get a short beep, take your power away, take your finger off the button. Now you want to push the activating brackets down to the proper position. Now on this one you got to make sure don't go all the way down because it won't be able to get there with the push pad on. So if you want to know the trick, you got to get to where you're hovering. The bottom of this plate is just above the plane of the actual chassis. That's where you want to go. Hold in that position, apply power, you get that longer beep, and now you're testing it out and you have the proper positioning for when you throw that push pad back on the door. And you're done. Okay, just to recap, if you're having the problem of the device is not retracting properly, you know that these brackets are in the right position, and you even try to reprogram where you got your beep, but then when you push everything down, the motor still spins when you're trying to program it, that is most likely that this motor's in the wrong spot. You've confirmed everything's in the right locations, but the motor itself is just too far back. So you slide the motor forward, and this will solve the issues. Should be able to just hit the program, and you're in the right spot. If you need to reprogram from there, go ahead.